We have author with an editor is number 7, author with a translator, editor working in an anthology. There's a lot of information here, and that's why it's not necessary for you to memorize how to do any particular type of citation, whether to memorize how to cite a book or a website. It's not necessary for you to memorize how to do that. You just need to know where to find the model, and you simply follow the model. If we keep thumbing through, we find a way to cite an encyclopedia or a dictionary, sacred text, all kinds of different possibilities here. If we move on to number 20, we have an article in a magazine. And here's another example that we're going to do, because this one is pretty popular, is how to do an article in a magazine. So if we're looking at number 20, the first thing we have is the author's last name again. So we come even with the margin, we give the last name, comma, first name, period. Then we have the title of the article in quotation marks. Because an article is a shorter work, we put it in quotation marks. Again, larger works use underlining, shorter works use quotation marks to denote the title. In this case, we have "There's Something About Mary Todd," quotation marks, and we have a period to denote the end of that section. The next piece of information we have is the title of the magazine in which this article appeared. So we're going to indent 5 spaces, and we're going to put the title of the magazine, and we're going to underline it because it is a larger work. Now the next piece of information we have is the date that it was published. So we have 19 February 2001, and again it's a subsequent line, so we indent 5 spaces again so that it's even with the line above it. 2001 colon, and then this last number is the page number that this article begins on. So we don't need any page numbers for book titles. Article titles we do. We have the page number, and then we have a period to denote the end of that section. Also note that we have the year of publication for the book, but we have the day, the month, and the year for the magazine article. So different types of sources are going to use different pieces of information. So this is something, again, that you don't have to memorize. You just have to know where to find the model, look at the model, and just follow the model. The next one that we're going to do is a website. And we're going to do a short work from a website, which is number 28. So if we know the author's name, then we give the author. If we do not know the author's name, then we begin with the website title. We go even with our margin because it's the beginning of the citation, and we write the title of the website article. In this case, it's Living Olds, and because it is a website article, we use quotation marks. It's a smaller work, so we use quotation marks to denote that title. Then we have the title of the website in which this article was found. Because it's a larger work, it's underlined. Period. Then we have 2 dates here. The first one, the earlier date, denotes either the date that this article was published or the last date that it was updated. You may have noticed on certain websites there is a last updated date, which kind of lets you know how how current is this information, has it been kept up with recently. But the first date is either the publication date or the last date that a website was revised or edited. The next piece of information we have is PBS online, period after that date, and then we begin indenting 5 spaces, PBS online, then we have a period, and then we have 19 January 2007. This last date is the date that you access the information. So keep in mind those 2 dates. The first one, or the oldest date, is the date of publication or the date something was last revised. The last date is the date that you accessed it. And then the final piece of information, which I'm not going to put the whole thing on there, is the web address. www. You always need to put the web address on there. So those are just a few examples of how to do a works cited page. As I said before, it's not quite as complicated as it may seem or as it may look, especially if you've never done one before. The big thing to know is look for the directory to the MLA works cited models. Just look through each of the possibilities. It may take you a while to figure out exactly what type of source you have. If you have an article in a magazine, if you have an article in a journal, an article in a daily newspaper, there are different kind of nuances for how to cite different sources. And so just look through, familiarize yourself with this page, and follow the models. And that's basically all there is to the works cited page.